Happy Friday, Tucson, and well, not just Tucson. Happy Friday, all Arizona fans out there. We're going to break down Arizona, Mississippi State. We've got a lot to get to right here. Might talk a little bit of hoops as well, but the keys to victory, everything Arizona needs to do. Let's get started here in Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. And again, thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, we got a lot to get to this show. Again, happy Friday. Football is here. How cool, how fun does that sound just to be able to say that football is here? All right, now we got a lot to get to this show. First and foremost, though, we're going to talk some Arizona football and what needs to happen for a victory right here. Now, this is one of the better teams that Arizona is going to go against all season. When I first started looking at Mississippi State, I'm like, they're decent. They're kind of niche though because it's a Mike Leach coach team. No, they're legitimately really, really good. You look at their quarterback. You look at Will Rogers. Will Rogers is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He's a player that. You watch him and you can just easily tell that, all right, this is a guy that has some next level ability to him. He fits in very well with what Mike Leach wants to do because he can do the quick hitting. He can do the offense where you just keep, you just spread everybody out and you get running out there. He's got all of that to him and a little bit more, to be honest with you. Then you look at the receiving core. The receiving core is loaded. Receiving core across the board is absolutely loaded. You could make the case that this is Mike Leach's most talented receiving core. And then they got a solid running game back there as well. The O-line is solid. And honestly, the defense is solid. But now that I tell you this, it's also important to be able to state that this isn't Alabama. This isn't Georgia that Arizona is going against. This is a team that certainly could lose. And they could certainly lose in a variety of fashions. So let's talk about what Arizona needs to do right here in order to back the A and get them into a victory right here. First, Arizona's going to have to, and this is from the defensive perspective, Arizona's going to have to pressure pressure Will Rogers here. They're just going to have to. There's no way around it. You're going to have to get plays off of the edge from Hunter Echols and from Jalen Harris. And the great thing about it, though, if you're an Arizona fan, is that they are more than capable. You have more than enough talent between those two to be able to make a big-time push right there, to be able to make a big-time play. Now, those two have to be able to get pressure off the edge. And if they can get pressure off the edge, then I think it makes things a lot easier, obviously. Then you get to Keon Bars. Keon Bars is going to have to cause problems for that team or for that offense right there. And we went into the season saying that he needs to be a linchpin there. He's got to be a linchpin. He's got to be the player that, went into the season and he looks like an all-conference guy. Again, Keon Bars has that ability. Nobody's asking Keon Bars to do something that he can't do. He's certainly more than capable of being able to make the plays that we were just talking about right there. Now, the linebacker spot, can't miss tackles. You got to be able to wrap up here. No yards after the catch. Mike Leach's offenses have always thrived on yards after the catch because, again, he's trying to get you in space. He's trying to get quick hitters. He's trying to get confusion. And if you can avoid that, you can get him into Mississippi State into some uncomfortable spots because, again, they don't really run the ball. Again, they run the ball more than Washington State teams did in the past. There's no doubt about that. But, you could run the ball one time and you'd have more than Washington State ran in the past. So there's that. But I think when it comes to this game, though, You just got to be able to limit. It's going to be difficult if Mississippi State gets in the 50s as far as scoring. So let's talk about then what Arizona needs to do, because that is, to me, really kind of the key here. Arizona has the talent to be able to compete now with anybody on their schedule, and we can't forget that. Arizona has the ability to be able to get out there, be able to, to cause problems. Now, Mississippi State, one thing you also need to keep in mind is that they had a lot of wins last year against teams that finished in the AP top 25. I believe they had 3 against teams that finished in the top 15, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I think that it's something like that. Now, you get in here, and Arizona offensively, you're going to have to score points. You can't get down there. You can't get down into the red zone. You can't get down there and come away with field goals. We love Tyler Loop on this show. Big Tyler Loop fan, big Kyle Ostendorp fan, but we don't want to utilize you guys today. Nothing personal, just don't want to utilize you today. Arizona's also got to be able to make some splash plays there, in my opinion. Arizona's got to be able to get out there and when we'll talk about Speedy Luke. Speedy Luke could be a guy to really keep an eye on here, because Mississippi State, no doubt, is going to, they have eyes. They saw what happened with San Diego State. They're no doubt going to be going for, they're going to be looking at Speedy or, Jacob Cowing. Wouldn't surprise me if they double cover him, if they bracket him, whatever the case may be. So there's going to be other guys that are going to be open. But when you're Arizona, when you're deep like Arizona is, when you have a T-Mac, when you have a Dorian Singer, those are guys that can come away with a 100-yard game. 100-yard games from somebody that isn't Jacob Cowing is going to be a necessity for me. And I'm actually writing that down as we speak. But that's where you're at, though. If you're the U of A, you need that to be able to come out. You need that to be able to work. I think what's also fascinating too is where exactly does Arizona stand then when it comes to just being able to put the ball in the end zone. Jaden DeLaura, this is going to be a big test for him. Jaden DeLaura certainly showed that he can be something that Arizona hasn't had in a long time. But again, it's definitely a step up in competition. Nobody gave Arizona a chance against SDSU, and not many are giving them a chance against Mississippi State. We'll get to our prediction here in a little bit, but you got to remember that if Arizona wins, no narrative that, oh, well, Mississippi State isn't that good. None of that. Because, again, everybody's picking Mississippi State to win big. So, again, they should win big according to the prognosticators. That means that, again, there are no outs right here. You don't get to say that, well, Mississippi State isn't that good. You've got to be able to just look at it and say, all right, maybe Arizona is that good. No, so we're gonna hold people to the fire on that. If anybody tries to say Mississippi State isn't that good, because Mississippi State is good. All right, now with DeLaura, we're gonna find out what kind of a shootout quarterback he is, because I would imagine this will get into a little bit of a shootout right here. And I think DeLaura is uniquely qualified to be able to get involved right there. DeLaura is that guy that he makes quick decisions. He can move around really well. He's got that type of ability. He's got that type of ability to be able to get out there and, again, make some plays, make some big-time plays out there. And we're going to find out how far along is he in his development. Because if we're here on Monday and we're talking about a guy that threw for 400 yards and 6 TDs, then Arizona can win absolutely any game. Again, this is going to be a real test for Arizona. The betting lines have certainly moved dramatically for Mississippi State, but we're going to find out just exactly where both programs are. I think some of that has to do with, and remember, Mississippi State's good, but Mississippi State also isn't the team that is absolutely unbeatable. They are beatable. Arizona can beat them. But they're going to need things to go right for them. There's no doubt about that. This is also going to be a great learning experience, I think, for Arizona, because offensively, again, I think we're good. I don't want to make it out like Arizona is the 1999 Rams or something like that. But I think you know enough by just watching practice. You know enough by watching this team that yeah, there's some real talent there. You don't ever come away from an Arizona game thinking, man, there's just nothing to work with on that side of the ball. That's just not the way it is. So that's kind of where you're at right there. The O line's got to give Delora some time though as well. He makes quick decisions, and we've talked about that, and he's very good at making quick decisions. But the next step will be then putting the team on your back, getting out there and being able to say, all right, we're going to get into a 500 yard. We're going to get into a 500 yard back and forth performance right there. Now, where then who's somebody under the radar that might step up a little bit in this game? And again, I'm going to go. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this. I'm going to go with the tight ends here. I'm going to say that somebody in that tight end unit has a good game, has 3 catches for 45 yards, has something along that line, because he with the receivers, you feel that the middle of the field might be opened up a little bit. And if the middle of the field's opened up a little bit, that's kind of where the tight end can flourish. Or maybe you get some passes out of the backfield. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about this. You just got to be able to go about it. I know that sounds simple. I know that sounds easy, but we're kind of at the stage right now with Arizona football where you got to be able to make those, you got to be able to do something where you can stress the middle of the field. You can stress the middle of the field, then things become a lot easier for you. And honestly, Mississippi State, with all due respect, I don't know where Mississippi State really is on the grand thing. Mississippi State is capable of beating a lot of teams. They're also capable of losing to some teams as well. But again, the one thing that I don't want from this game is Arizona. If somehow Arizona wins, oh, well, Mississippi State just wasn't that good, because you already see that narrative right now with some of the naysayers out there. And again, that's just not cool. That's not fair. So if you think the Mississippi State's awesome going into this game, then continue to think that. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit about field position here. Turnovers, no turnovers, no turnovers. And if they are, keep them to a minimum. Arizona games spiral when Arizona commits turnovers. This has always been the case. SDSU last year, where or ASU, where it's 21-0 with like 4 minutes into the game. That can't happen. But again, when that's happened in the past, it's been because Arizona has been careless with the ball. They haven't had good players, and they've made some big bonehead mistakes out there. Now, the next thing that Arizona needs to be able to do then is not turn the ball over and flip field position right here. We love the special teams on this show. We love Ostendorp. We love Tyler Loop. Those guys are absolutely fantastic. But again, don't want to use them. But if we do have to use them, Ostendorp's got to be big here. Ostendorp's got to be the guy that can sink one of those chips, bury him inside the 10-yard line, something like that, or be able to just boom it a 65 yard kick, something like that, to just be able to flip field position. Those guys are going to be big. And then in the kick return game, I know he's not right now, but I'd love to see Fam. I'd love to see Speedy Luke back there. I'd love to see him be able to make a play or two, because Speedy Luke, as we all know, has that ability. It comes in the Luke name. You're small, you're quick, you're efficient, you're effective. That's essentially what happens with Mr. Speedy Luke. But that's those are kind of the keys to the game right there. We're going to give you a prediction here in just a second, but I will say this. If you were going to bet on this game anywhere, you'd want to go to the BetOnline Sportsbook. BetOnline Sportsbook is the absolute best place right now to be able to get anything that you want, because, again, this is where everything is. It's also easy. I can't tell you how many times people have said to me, I like the concept of betting, but it's confusing, or it's difficult, or I don't quite get it. There's none of that with the BetOnline Sportsbook app. There's absolutely none of that. It's simple to use. You've got all the best deals. Check it out, BetOnline Sportsbook. We will be right back with you. And you are listening to the Locked On Wildcats podcast. Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Jayden de Laura again. Jayden de Laura, the one thing that he's a scrambler. He's not a runner. I think that's fairly easy to see. But scrambling is perfect when you have awesome wide receivers. What he can do in this game is he can extend some plays. There's no doubt about it. He can get out. He can get out into the middle of the field. He can get out there and he can chuck the ball or whatever. But he's fairly decent at evading pressure. And he's probably going to have to do that a little bit today. But let's not underestimate, though, the power of some of these players out there that he's got in front of him. And Jordan Morgan's a big key to that. We heard all year about how Jordan Morgan had real breakout potential. And again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I knew that Jordan Morgan would be this or that, because quite frankly, I didn't see it. I was wrong. But he's been quite good for Arizona, and I think you're going to continue to see that. But this is going to be a big test. You're going against better athletes for sure. How does he hold up? How does Peyton Fears hold up on the other side? Is Jonas Savaiinaea in that interior? Are they healthy enough? Are they mature, experienced enough to be able to run the ball with DJ Williams? I think you're going to see a heavy dose of DJ Williams in this game, to be honest with you. Then on top of that, you've got a bunch of different guys. I think Dorian Singer could have a nice game again here, because Dorian Singer is kind of the guy that people forget about a little bit. Dorian Singer is the guy that you just know is there. He's a little bit like, somebody used the Brad Brennan comparison. He's a little bit like Brad Brennan in that he just kind of always is open, or it just doesn't look like it should be as easy as it is, but he gets there. He gets it for sure. One thing though that I do think is that if Arizona is to win this game, there's going to be some surprise player out there. There's going to be some guy that really emerges that we're not even talking about. And I've spent this time trying to figure out who that is. I don't know who that is. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know. We've just thrown out some possibilities. But again, these are possibilities. But what's great about it, though, is that throwing out some of these possibilities, there's absolutely no confusion. There's nobody knows, but I throw something out there and it could be right, it could be wrong, but it's not outlandish. Like in the past couple of years, you were looking and you're like, I don't know about this. We're going to have to try something, or something else is going to have to really work right here. We'll see where that stands. Now, looking at this game, then we're going to get a prediction. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll get to the prediction on the other side. You are listening to the Locked On Wildcats podcast. Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, prediction time here. Where are we going here? Obviously, everybody and their mother seems to like Mississippi State. That's cool. But Mississippi State is very beatable. Arizona is going to have to do a lot of things right. As you know, nobody backs the A harder than me, but we're also trying to be realistic on the show. I'm absolutely ecstatic where Jed Fish is right here. I thought the over 3 wins was going to be something very easy. Again, BetOnline Sportsbook, check it out. But I also think that, you're going against a team that's a little bit further along in the maturation process. You got a few more players out there. So I'm going to go Mississippi State 38, Arizona 31. I think Arizona covers. I think that this is a much better game than a lot of people think. But it's kind of we're kind of in a different frontier right now. But everybody needs to get out there. Fan support needs to be huge. You got to support these guys. Again, Jed Fish has done everything he can do. They're starting to translate it onto the field. So everybody show up, everybody get out there and do what they can for this team. All right. Again, as you all know, we are in season by season, or we are in game by game by game approach right here. The show is brought to you by BetOnline Sportsbook. Thanks for everybody for making this first listen of the day. We will be back with you on Monday. But again, big week for the Cats. Show up out there. And everybody, we always thank you. Back the A. We will be back with you on Monday.